All right. Today I am going to talk about Lily Brown, who I have been evaluating. Lily attends Christ Community School. She is a second grader. She's a female, 7 years, 9 months. And her birthday is May 15th, 2009. All right, so let's begin. Lily, in the past, has not received any sort of special services. Her teacher says that she is a very bright child, and overall an above average student. Teacher also says that Lily doesn't seem to struggle in any one subject. She's a quick learner, and she's a natural leader in the classroom. Lily has been diagnosed with disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. And the teacher says that if Lily feels threatened or hurt, she will sometimes act out or completely refuse to comply. She goes on and explains that her reactions almost always stem from a deeper emotion, and she has trouble handling emotion appropriately. She occasionally has angry outbursts or crying fits when she is very upset. Usually it is because her feelings have been hurt in some way. The teacher notes that her behavior has improved over time, and also that even though she does sometimes act inappropriately in the classroom, overall she has a lot of friends in the classroom. In fact, a lot of the students look up to her and seem to flock to her. She seems to be able to build and maintain many strong friendships. As far as testing in the classroom, Lily's class has done the STAR test for reading, and Lily actually has the highest score of all the students in her class on that test. And her reading level is between 3-4, which is 3rd grade, 4th month, and 5-7, 5th grade, 7th month. So Lily's reading is high. Both Lily and her mom describe Lily as a very good, highly motivated reader. Overall, Lily's grades also show that she is succeeding. She is either meeting or exceeding expectations in all areas. The teacher notes that the only area that she seems to need extra, help in sometimes is her talking. She sometimes talks excessively, out of turn. She just needs to control inappropriate talking in the classroom. So I interviewed Lily herself, and I had to do it in 2 different testing sessions because Lily just seemed to really be done with it the first day. She was highly distracted. She wanted to go play. She wanted to go back to her regular routine in her classroom. So we did an interview session in 2 different sessions. She says that she likes to joke around with her sister, and that she likes, some of the Beau on the Go and the Little Mermaid numbers 1 and 2. She lists a whole bunch of friends who are all peers in her classroom. She says that she seems to have some conflict with her father, as she says she dislikes him. I do know that Lily does come from a divorced household, and that Lily's father is not an active part of her life. Lily reports that she likes school because it is fun. However, she says she doesn't like her current grade because she wants to be older. Lily says that in general, she feels happy towards the students in her class and her teacher, and she thinks that they feel happy about her as well. If she could change something about school, she'd want to have recess every day. And really, who wouldn't? Moving on, she says she seems to have a happy family life at home. She wouldn't change anything about her family, and she says they get along at home. Sometimes she fights with her sister. However, she loves her family, and she wouldn't change it. So, when asking general questions to Lily, she says that she wants to be an engineer when she grows up, and that she would want the world to be made of nerd ropes. Overall, through the interview, Lily seemed a very eager, happy child. So, in her observation settings, within the classroom environment, at first Lily appeared to be focused and on task. She raised her hand eagerly to answer questions. She, when given an assignment, she liked to manage the other children and make sure they were on task when giving a group assignment. Individually, she did stay on task and do her work. However, there were times that she was also off task and talking. Whenever there was downtime at all, she seemed to want to turn and socialize with her neighbors. During the presentation, the full class presentation going on in front of the board, in front of the class, Lily became very antsy. She bounced around a lot. She would sit, and then she would kneel, and then she'd start to edge forward. So she seemed, the longer the lecture would go on, she seemed to get antsier and antsier and need to move. However, in the classroom, she seemed to be very capable of the work she was being asked. She understood directions well and gave a proper answer or produced a quality of work that's expected of a second grader. She seemed quick to verbally express herself and even occasionally talk too loud or when she was not supposed to talk. She also showed that when the distance between her and a speaker was greater, the more likely she was to talk when she was not supposed to. Observing Lily in the testing sessions was interesting. She was very eager for the testing to begin. Towards the beginning, she was right on task. She was eager. She wanted to really work. And then as time went on, I noticed that she was kind of getting bored. She'd rather go play with her friends. She'd rather go back to the regular school environment. She asked me how long it was going to take. She was also often concerned about if this was going to affect her grade and how well she was doing on this different assessments. So as time went on, I had to cut the testing sessions down into shorter sessions because she just wouldn't hold attention very long. She didn't seem to have as much of a desire to work with me. This continued until the 6th testing session. We did 6 testing sessions. And also I noticed that when problems became harder, she became easily frustrated. She didn't want to continue. She didn't even want to try. Once she realized something was too hard, she was done, and she had no desire to even attempt the problem. Also, I noticed that Lily seemed less focused in the school setting than she did in the home setting when we did our testing. At school, Lily was eager to get back to her normal routine. She was distracted by any sign of movement. She fidgeted a lot and got up out of her seat more often at school than she did at home. She also tended to complain more about the testing procedures when she was actually in the school setting. Alright, so let's move on to some of Lily's specific scores. First, let's talk about her the VMI, her visual motor. As you can see here, Lily scored a 119. And if you look at the chart, that falls is this arrow right here, which is the high average range for one of her age, and it's the 91st percentile. So Lily really did very well on this assessment. When actually taking the assessment, she, again, wanted to do only what she knew she could do, and once the problems got hard, she was done. She really needed extra motivation to continue through even some of the last couple of problems that she did. Moving on, Lily was given the K-bit, and here we can see her score. Her total score was 108, which, again, this fell into the 70th percentile. So this is in the average range for the, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Pages are out of order. Alright, so, as you can see, she did higher on the vocabulary portion, scoring at the 81st percentile, which is much higher than her 58th percentile. So either way, Lily will be successful in the verbal or nonverbal parts. However, we can see that she definitely seems to have a strength in the verbal part of the K-BIT testing, as her scores were somewhat higher on that section. Overall, though, when we look at the K-BIT testing, she was successful. She didn't need help to complete the directions. She remained on task throughout all of this testing, and she appeared very comfortable with the problems on the test and eager to complete them. Moving on, let's look at Lily's language functioning. Let's first look at Lily's phonological awareness. Lily scored an 83 out of 85, which meets expectations. In fact, she only needed a score higher than 46 to meet expectations, so she really exceeded expectations here. She only missed 2. We can see that her phonological awareness is really high. Also, let's look at her rapid automatic naming. This is used to evaluate the ability to produce automatic speech. She scored normal as far as her errors. She made only 1 error on the test, which is less than 10. Therefore, she did very well as far as her accuracy. However, her time was not much. Her time was slower than the normal time. She completed the test in 1 minute and 43 seconds, which actually falls on the slower end of slower than normal. So it did seem to me that either Lily may have processed a little slower, or she may have been extra stressed due to time. And she did verbalize to me that she wishes she didn't know that she was being timed. It seemed to really stress her out a little bit. So that needs to be taken into consideration when considering that score. Finally, let's look at her working memory. Lily scored a 131, which is very high, in the very superior range for her working memory. 98th percentile. So this was definitely a strength for Lily. Alright. Moving on. Let's move to some of our CBMs. Lily was given a couple of reading tests. Here we see that she was given a passage reading fluency test on Easy CBM, and she read 148 words in the time period she had, the 1 minute time period, and she read with 100% accuracy. This gave her a 95%, which is a superior score. So again, Lily's reading seems to be on the very high end. Reading comprehension, she was given a passage and then was given a multiple choice test that went with that passage, and she got a 12 out of 12, which put her at the 92nd percentile, which is also a superior score. So we can see here that Lily is reading well, and that she is comprehending what she is reading as well at a very superior rate. Then we can move on and look at Lily's math scores. Overall, Lily's math, she scored average. She was given two different, a math measurement CBM and a numbers and operation CBM. She scored 12 on both. In the math measurement, this put her at the 65th percentile, meaning that she scored 65%, better than 65% of other students who had taken the test of her age, of the similar age and grade. And the numbers and operations, it put her at the 51st percentile. So both of these are average. I did, however, note a couple of interesting things in this test. When I looked closely at the results of both of these tests, I noticed that in the math, numbers, and operations, the ones that she had gotten wrong involved subtraction with borrowing. 3 out of 4 of the ones she got wrong. So that may be a skill that Lily needs more practice in. And math measurement, I noticed that 3 out of 4 of those that she missed were dealing with time. So time and borrowing may be two skills that Lily really just needs some extra practice in. But overall, she scored in the average range. Oh, and then we have our spelling. As far as spelling goes, Lily was given the Westler Individual Achievement Test, the second edition, and she was basically given words that she had to try to spell, and she scored a 30 out of 53 was her raw score. And this translates into a standard score of 125, which put her at the 95th percentile. This was a superior score for her spelling as well. And that her confidence band was 119 to 131. So, her spelling score is also very superior. That was the test that Lily was given. So if we look back at our whole picture, again, we see where our normal distribution curve is. From the 90 to the 110 is where we see our average range. So Lily, in a couple of areas, falls into the average range. But for the most part, we're seeing high, average, and superior scores. And this seems to really be strong. And we have her VMI being pretty strong. Her working memory is very strong. And I discussed how her phonological awareness was really high as well. All her reading CBMs and her STAR score in the classroom shows that her reading is very strong, both her comprehension and her phonics and her oral reading. And her vocabulary, again, her verbal processing was high as well. So, let's move on and talk about some of the extra other things that I did with Lily. One is her social emotional functioning. And again, the one thing that she seems a happy child overall. She says she likes school. It's not always fun, but she enjoys it. She seems happy in her current situation as far as her family and in her classroom. She does report feeling angry sometimes at school. She says that she becomes frustrated easily. Although she gets high grades, she also says that she sometimes does not feel good about her schoolwork. The teacher reports that Lily is a bit of a perfectionist and takes it hard when she does something wrong. She also gets mad at other children who are mean to her or hurt her feelings, she says. Lily's mother was given the Vanderbilt ADH Diagnostic Parenting Skill. Some of the unique things that Lily's mother showed is that she had a lot of the qualities that could show opposition or defiance. These are things like Lily often loses her temper with adults. She argues with adults. She disobeys or refuses to follow requests. She bothers people on purpose. She also indicates that Lily is often touchy or easily annoyed by others. These were things that Lily was high in. Lily also scored higher in some of the depression things. She says that she can feel sad, and she's often sad or unhappy, and she can also get easily embarrassed. And this can show that she has some symptoms of depression. Lily's mother seems very aware of these problems and says that she does go to counseling every week and is under the care of professionals. She's been tested and diagnosed with this disorder, the disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and that the teacher and the school are all on board and have tried different methods of helping Lily cope with this. Sorry, Lily's my daughter's name, so it's so easy to mix it up. Coping with this. And that although Lily has had some outbursts of mood swings, she is generally a happy, eager child. And so they are working on this, and Lily is showing improvement in the classroom. Based on the results of this current evaluation, Lily seems to be progressing at an average pace or higher than average across most academic subjects. Her motor coordination is shown to be in the high range, her verbal processing shows to be in the high average range, and her nonverbal processing falls into the average. Lily most likely does a little bit better on tests that use her verbal processing skills. In reading and measurement and phonological awareness, all her scores showed superior or high superior abilities. Working memory is also high for her. Her spelling score is the high superior range. Math seems to be an average area for Lily. Overall, Lily seems to function well in the general education classroom. She seems well liked by her peers and teacher, and likes them in return. She also seems happy most of the time, but does struggle with handling negative emotions appropriately sometimes. She also can seem restless and be easily distracted. Based on the results of this current evaluation, Lily will benefit from some specific accommodations so that she can access her cognitive and processing strength as she completes her academic work. Some of my suggestions include that Lily should be assessed for placement in the GROW program, which was our gifted program at our school, so she can be sure to grow and be challenged in her abilities. Lily should also be allowed to use a fidget when appropriate, as she's shown some distraction in the classroom and a little bit of hyperactivity as well. She can also be given a movement break a few times a day in order to help release some energy as well as calm her when she gets frustrated. Thirdly, I would suggest that Lily be given a safe spot she can go to when she's angry to calm down. She may have a few minutes to get her emotions under control before having to meet consequences or continue her work. These are some suggestions that I've come to. I also have a question for you guys to answer. Have you ever had a child completely lose control of their emotions in your classroom? For Lily, this has often happened, although she has made tremendous progress. When you have a child who is outrightly defiant, disruptive, or explosively angry, how do you handle it in the classroom without it becoming a battle of the wills, or without it throwing the entire class off task? So that's a question I have for you, as this has happened not just with Lily, but with other children in my classroom. Do you have methods that you seem to work well for you? I know that it does, this isn't cookie cutter. These are children, and so not everything's going to work across the board. But I'd like to hear what your experiences are and how you've handled those, as Lily seems to more struggle with these kind of emotional outbursts. So that is what I have. Thank you for your time.